8-foot Warlock. It is powered by Mercury, 500 horsepower inboard. David Carruth is the driver. Brian Candy is the throttle man. Other competitors in Factory 1 class, we've got Activator, Flashwave, Mutual Fun, Team Lavicraft, Radioactive, SuperboatUSA.com, Stellar Marine, Racing Cane, Patriot, High Energy, Typhoon, Velocity, Activator, 13 Factory 1 boats in all. David Carruth, the driver, and Brian Candy is the throttle man. They're both from Georgia. On board H2O Motorsports. Mutual Fun, 29-foot fountain, Mercury-powered, 500 horsepower inboard, a Factory 1 boat. Michael Connolly is the driver. Bill Kingery is the throttle man. Mike from Lewis Center, Ohio. Bill from Columbus, Ohio. Mutual Fun, Factory 1 boat. RNS Offshore Racing on the outside. Mutual Fun on the inside. RNS, a Factory 2 boat. Mutual Fun, a Factory 1 boat. RNS in second place, currently in Factory 2. Bill Kingery on throttle, Mike Connolly at the wheel. Both doing a great job here on board Mutual Fun, Factory 1 boat. Richard Clark and Mike Connolly and Bill Kingery all are the co-owners of this 29-foot fountain.
Force right here. Ease up. They cut in on us. We gotta go all the way. We gotta go out. Come on, go for it. I'm going. They left us nothing. It's all right. They're still pulling out on us. We're right on conservative side. Yeah, baby. Come on. Get ready to set a bigger turn up here. Ooh, easy. Oh, easy. It's rough on this turn. It's rough on the turn. Back off of it a little bit. If I can't hold it down, you're going to have to back off when I say back off. I'm watching all kinds of shit. Easy. Ew. Yeah, baby. Shit. It's all going to come together. Ooh, watch it. Lord. Oh, that hurt.
On board Mutual Fun there with Michael Connolly and Bill Kingery. 29-foot fountain, mercury powered. Patriot Offshore Racing, a 29-foot fountain. Curtis Watkins, the driver. John Thames is the throttle man. Curtis from Fort Lauderdale, Florida. John from Stowe, Vermont, long ways from Key West, Florida. Mercury powered, 500 horsepower. Mercury inboard. Viper Marine is the owner of Patriot Offshore Racing. F-177. Lots and lots of spectators here in Key West as we head into Mallory Square. There's Team Donzie on the outside. Team Donzie. Curtis Watkins at the wheel doing a nice job. John Thames, the throttle man. On board Patriot Racing with Curtis Watkins and John Thames. Beautiful day here in Key West. Race number 2 of this 7-race event here in these World Championships, APBA. Little jolt there on board Patriot Offshore Racing. Recovery, Curtis Watkins and John Thames. Back to a helicopter shot. Let's go at SuperboatUSA.com now. 30-foot Superboat. Brian Wickersham is the driver. Edgar Simmons is the throttle man. Brian from Richmond, Virginia. Edgar from Virginia, but from Mannequin, Sabbath, Virginia. Mercuries are powered, 500 horsepower inboard. Special thanks to Superboat on Long Island. Twister going by on the inside at Factory 2. Twister. On board SuperboatUSA.com. Brian Wickersham and Edgar Simmons. Brian at the wheel. Back to our helicopter shot. SuperboatUSA.com in Factory 1. "30-foot Superboat." Edgar Simmons, the owner. Stella Marine there in the distance. Stella Marine F-118. 29-foot Fountain, Chevy powered, 1,500 horsepower inboard. Lisa Steinbach is the driver. Kurt Steinbach is the throttle man. They're from St. Petersburg, Florida. Lisa Steinbach at the wheel. Stellar Marine. Factory 1 class. All right, we're on board Harwich Concrete now. We're going to take a few boats to the finish line. Here is Harwich Concrete Block with Marco Duggan, the driver, and Chris Wigstrom, the throttle man. They're both from Massachusetts as we wind down race number 2 here in Key West for these 2002 World Championships. Right now, Harwich Concrete is in second place, so in good standing here in race number 2 in Factory 2. One more turn to go for Harwich Concrete. Make it to the finish line. As we said, it is currently in second place. Speedwares number 1. Oh, there's Chris Wickstrom. He's almost out of the boat. That hooking of the boat got him out of there, but he seems to be coming back in. He seems to be okay. Wow, that was quite an incident there. Chris Wickstrom almost being thrown out of the boat, being hit into Mark O'Duggan. Let's see that one more time in slow-mo. Quite a dramatic moment there for these two guys on board Harwich Concrete. They were in second place. Let's see that one more time. The boat has a dramatic hook, forcing Chris Wickstrom out of the boat. There's the hook. Chris going into Mark O'Duggan, slamming into Mark, then going outside there on the stern. He grabs the handrail of the boat, maintains himself on the boat, struggles to get back into the cockpit, and does so. Very lucky guy, Chris Wickstrom on throttle. Mark O'Duggan, the driver. Could have been a lot worse. Chris, making it back to the cockpit and seems to be okay. Let's see that one more time in regular speed. All happens in a matter of a few seconds, as you will see. The boat hooks, and there it is. Almost gets thrown out, holds himself on the handrail so he's not thrown into the water, back into the cockpit. They're okay. Of course, they've lost some position, though they were in second place. All right, let's take high energy racing now to the finish line.
Second flag all the way left. That checkered flag or not? Yeah, that's it. That's it, buddy. One down, one to go. Good job, dude. Turn in.
In first place, and a checkered flag for high energy racing in Factory 1 class. High energy. And there they are.
Baby. Pretty good, dude.
Mike McCarley and Mark Kowalski celebrating there aboard High Energy Racing, getting a checkered flag in Factory 1. And that is the end of race number 2, the Factory 1 and Factory 2 boats. A lot of exciting racing, of course. We saw what happened to Harwich Concrete's Christopher Wickstrom being thrown out of the boat. Almost, not quite. He was able to grab himself on the handrail and managed to get back to the cockpit. Luckily, he is okay. Quite dramatic and violent couple of seconds there on board Harwich Concrete, but everything seemed to be working out all right. There are, of course, lots and lots of spectators along watching this race number 2 of these World Championships here in Key West, APBA. In just a moment, we will have the rundown, the winners after this race number 2, which featured the Factory 1 and the Factory 2 boats. 7 races in all. We got 5 more to go here at these World Championships. And there, the Truman Annex, the racing village for these World Championships. Beautiful day here in Key West. All right, the winners in Factory 2 class, Speedware getting the checker flag coming up in first place. RNS Racing in second, and Herbot Treadwell Racing in third place. Speedware all the way, getting the checkered flag in Factory 2. All right, Factory 1, High Energy Racing, we just saw a little while ago. Took him to the finish line in first place, followed by Typhoon Racing in second, and Velocity VR1 in third. High Energy in first place in Factory 1 class. And that is it, the end of race number 2. Coming up, race number 3, highly competitive racing and safe racing, of course, with the exception of that brief dramatic moment on board Harwich Concrete Block in which Chris Wickstrom was almost thrown out of the boat, but was managed to get back in the cockpit because he hung on to the handrails. Chris Wickstrom is okay, and that's the most important thing. So before we go, there are a few people that we would like to thank. First off, I'd like to give a special thanks to Eve for all of her help during these World Championships. Also a thanks to Gary and Nancy Johnson for their fine camera work, Mr. Jim Fisher for helping us on the onboard cameras. Also Russell Kilpatrick, our helicopter pilot, always does a fine job. And to the APBA staff for orchestrating a fine event. Of course, Freeze Frame Video, I'd like to give a special thanks to Typhoon Racing, Platinum, and the Obsession Race Team for helping us transport our equipment to Key West for these World Championships. So the next time we'll see you will be on Sunday morning for race number 6, the final race, where we will crown the World Champions in Factory 1 and Factory 2. So this is Vince Lipari on behalf of Jeff Girardi and the rest of the Freeze Frame Video production crew wishing you a fond farewell from Key West, Florida. Bye, everyone.